Are you aware that nearly 30% of study permit applications for Sweden are rejected due to common mistakes? Don't let this happen to you or maybe someone you know. Imagine spending months preparing to study here in Sweden only to have your resident permits denied because of maybe simple mistake that you did. This is frustrating, right? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be helping you to avoid that. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel where I share with you some of the tips and tricks of thriving here in Sweden, working and studying here in Sweden. So guys, in this video, I'll break down the most common mistakes to students make when they're applying for their study permit or their resident permit and how to avoid them. So without wasting much time, let's get started into today's video. Now, one of the biggest mistakes students make is waiting too long to apply for their resident permit. The Swedish migration agency, Migrationsverket, their processing times can take several months, and especially during the peak application for study permit, the time the time needed takes a lot of time because a whole lot of students apply for this application, right? So apply as soon as you receive your admission letter. So sometimes I always say, don't I always like to be in the middle. So I will not say if your admission comes out in April, in March, you can apply April ending, May ending, so that at least you have like 3 to 4 months before the start of your program. So I always like to have a middle point, not so early, not so late, just maybe have a middle as say May ending and beginning of June, right? So remember that the migration agency will be experiencing a high volume of application. So try to be in time. Ideally, processing time takes 3 to 4 months before your program starts. So you want to avoid any dying minute submission, as having these delays can cause you to miss on your start date, and we don't want that. After everything we've been through, we really don't want that. So I'll give you a pro tip. If your permit isn't processed in time, you may have to defer your studies so that you don't take any chances. I don't know if you understand what this means. Like, because you've taken so much time to get this admission, if you feel you're not going to meet up with your you coming to Sweden to study and you've gotten this admission, my best advice is to defer your admission. At least you are sure of an admission. It then means that you need to pay your fees, right? You need to pay your fees. So meaning that next admission round, all you just need to do is to apply for a resident permit. So, but if you don't want it that way, maybe the next admission round you do the same thing you've done, just as you did now. So the next mistake you want to avoid is not providing accurate information about yourself. Guys, you want to avoid the discrepancies in your information. The discrepancies in the information you'll be providing in your application. One of the most common reasons for resident permit denial or rejection is providing incorrect or inconsistent information. Even smallest, the tiniest discrepancy can cause delays or outright denial of your application. So whatever information you have started with, please stick with it. Don't change it along the way. Do not come along the way or in the middle of your process and want to change it. That is a no. It's going to hurt you in your application process, right? Another mistake people do is not providing enough proof of fund. This is one reason why most people are rejected, right? Sweden requires you to provide or to prove that you can support yourself throughout your studies or throughout the duration of your studies. Now, many students make mistake in this step, which leads to rejection. So you want to make sure that your bank statement meets the required minimum. Sometimes I like to inflate the prices. Like currently, it is 10,586 Swedish crowns per month for living expenses for a single applicant. If I'm to make an application, I will need to inflate this price because this amount of money because of exchange rate. The exchange rate during that time when students are applying for resident permit is always high. It's always high. So it's important that if possible, you want to inflate the price a little. Let the case officer see that you even have excess of what is required if possible. Do you understand? So make sure your bank statement is has enough money. Also, if possible, um add, like I said, add extra to accommodate or the fluctuating exchange rate. So the next thing you want to do is to the funds must be in your name and in a recognized bank. Please avoid microfinance bank. I don't know why, but just avoid it, please. So your funds should be in your name and a recognized bank. Don't go and use another person's bank account to submit. And also don't do flashing of account. It's not right, right? The money has to be in your account. If you are using a sponsor, tell them to put the money in your account. Never submit an account that doesn't carry your name, that's carrying your sponsor's name. That's a red flag. You get? So show that your account is stable, like there's an activity going on in the account. For me personally, I really don't like people that want to go and open new accounts for applying for resident permit. What happens to your present account that you are using? As long as it's not a microfinance account, then by all means you can open a new account. Sometimes they may, you never can tell. Your case officer may ask you, why is this a new account? Why did you open this account almost the time you're applying for your resident permit? So you don't want to start looking for more things to come and support your application. No, it's going to delay you. So try to use a very stable bank. Okay. So another mistake you want to avoid is submitting incomplete and incorrect document. A simple mistake in your documentation can lead to a delay or even rejection. So make sure you double check all your required documents before submission. Ensure your passport is valid for the entire period of your study or the time you want to stay here. Provide, if you are somebody from a different country that doesn't speak English, you need to you need to translate your document either to English or to Swedish, right? So provide translated and certified copies of your documents in Swedish or in English so that your case officer will be able to read them, right? Submit your proof of full-time enrollment to your program. So like I said earlier, every document that we talked about in the checklist, please, it needs to be complete. If you are applying with your dependent, ensure that you submit all the necessary documents that relates to them or that will affect them, because it's possible that they will grant you, they will not grant your family. You don't want that. It's demoralizing. So anything you are doing, make sure you do it perfectly. As you are doing for yourself, you do for your family, and you do it perfectly. Now, a pro tip: make sure that a checklist based on what is necessary for you to make the application, make sure you get everything down, like have all of them maybe uploaded in your system. Get everything down before you start your application so that your application will go smoothly. Do you understand? So get everything down. So number 5 mistake you want to avoid is ignoring follow-up mails from migration agency or from even your case officer. So sometimes the migration agency may request additional information. Maybe there's something they need more from you, or there's something you missed to fill. They want to get more information from you. And if you are the type that don't check your email, you need to check your email, you need to check your junk, you need to check everywhere. Just make sure that every time you are checking your email, you are refreshing your email, make sure that there's enough space in your email to receive a amount of email that is going to be coming in, right? So make sure to follow up on your email, because if you fail to respond to their email promptly, because normally they always give time frame, sometimes they give you 1 week, 3 days, 5 days to get something and submit it or upload it. They will give you the steps on how you can upload it. If you don't do it, is automatic rejection. So regularly check your email, including your spam folder, respond quickly, or if possible, submit the additional document that they've requested from you. You want to keep copies of everything you submit for reference sake. Keep copies, have a clear bag and put everything, just in case you are called for interview, you can go along with it. If your application is taking longer than expected, you can reach out to migration vacate or yeah, you can write migration bracket. They can tell you if a case officer has been assigned or not. Sometimes you are even entitled to your officer's name and email address. Please and please, you can send a mail maybe 1 or 2 times, but anything more than that, don't come and bombard them with message. And please, is there anything you need me to send in? I'm asking if my case have been touched. Don't do that, please. Don't bombard them. Maybe 1 or 2. You can just write, "Hi, my name is this thing, and I found out that you are my case officer. I wanted to ask if there's any other thing I need to support my application with that will be of good to you to make your good judgment, blah, 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 blah." After that, he can even reply you and said, for now, nothing. And you end it there. Don't come and bombard them with message. Let them don't use annoyance and reject you. Do you understand? So that is one thing you can send them the email and be polite about it. So a pro tip: set email alerts so that you don't miss any important updates. Do you understand? So update from your case officer, from migrations bracket, from anything relating to your application. Put it on star, prioritize it. Do you understand? So it's going to help you a lot, because if you miss anything, bakam, you miss otilo, that's the end. Rejection, outright rejection, and we really don't want that, right? So another mistake you want to avoid is failing to book your biometric appointment on time. So let's assume you've been granted and you feel you have all the time in the world. My dear, my brothers and my sisters, you really don't have all the time in the world, because you see, with Sweden's application, you need to be as fast as you can. That's why I said, now that you have that it's not the peak of this application, you have to save up money, because it's going to take you a lot of financial responsibility to be able to do things at the speed of time, right? So make sure that you don't you book your appointment on time. So once you've been granted, you want to write to the immigration in Abuja, migration bracket in Abuja, telling them that you've been granted and you would like to book for biometrics. Then they will give you a time and a date that you should come, and you have to confirm that, because when you get to the gate of Abuja, the embassy in Abuja, you check in the security post. You have to check your name. Your name must be there. If your name is not there, they cannot allow you in. So make sure you book it on time. Just know that your resident permit takes like 2 to 3 weeks to come, and sometimes that 2 to 3 weeks is already close to when your school is supposed to resume. You get? So make sure you book your biometrics on time. Do not waste any time when you've been called for either your interview or when you have been granted. Those that are called for interview, we do the same biometrics as I said earlier. After your interview, you do biometrics. If you have your family that's coming with you after you've been granted, your family can then come and do their own biometrics. So this can, if you don't do this, you have a lot of delay that will make your getting your residence permit will be very, very difficult to get, right? So book your biometrics appointment as soon as you receive your approval. And if you are outside Sweden, you want to check the nearest embassy to you. I have followers from Kenya, Uganda, all the African countries. So you want to look for the nearest Abuja, nearest Sweden embassy close to you. So another pro tip I'll give you, for those of you that the embassy is not in your country, some of these locations have long waiting time. So it's very important that you plan ahead. Plan ahead. So like I said, it needs financial responsibility. So make sure you have money and you plan ahead so that you can go on time and do whatever you want to do and wait for your resident permit card to arrive. So guys, the most important takeaway for you is to understand that thorough preparation and attention to details can significantly influence the outcome of your application. So it's very important that you are aware of these common mistakes so that you can take proactive steps to ensure that your application stands out from the rest. So it's not just about avoiding rejection, but also about presenting your a strong application that showcases your qualification and your suitability for studying in Sweden. Remember that the Swedish Migration Agency is looking for candidates who are well prepared, candidates that are well motivated, and that are dedicated to want to study. So It is not just about checking the boxes, submitting, do this one, you have all the documents. No, it's not about that. You want to use your application as an avenue for you to tell your stories about why you want to study in Sweden and how you will contribute to the academic community in Sweden. So I think that was one of the best things, one of the things that helped me, because there's a place that they ask, why do you want to study in Sweden? Like I told you, if they have 5,000 characters, guys, use the whole 5,000 characters. Don't leave anything. Express yourself. If you are going to tell a story, tell a story. Tell a story why you picked that course. Do you understand? It's very, very important. Tell a story why you picked that course. I told a story, and probably that was what helped me. I was not called for interview. So it's important that you sell yourself in your application. So by telling a story, you'll be able to present a compelling application that showcases your strength and increases your chances of being approved for a resident permit to study here in Sweden. And that's it, guys. There you have it. Avoiding these mistakes can help you present a strong application for your study permit in Sweden, increasing your chances of approval. I hope you found this video very helpful. Please, if you found it very helpful, give this video a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to this video, share with your friends who are in their journey to coming here to study. I know this can be a little bit taxing, but my dear, my love, my lovelies, my lovers, if you do your application properly, if you do it properly, I promise you, you will not regret it, because the beautiful thing that's awaiting you is just one thing, and that's you doing your application properly. You can see how far we've come from October till now. We are still making application till it's a long process, and you don't want all those long days to be wasted, right? So please, I really wish you guys well, and I would love to see you here also. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Hey, though.